everyone, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Olivia, and we're from the Smithsonian in Fort Pierce, Florida.
We're from the Coral Health and Marine Probiotics Lab, also known as the CHAMP Lab, and we're here for our second video of our science series. Today, we have the pleasure of introducing our two interns from the CHAMP Lab, Tessa and Kylie.
Hey guys.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
My name's Tessa Bekich, and I'm a research intern. I do coral husbandry and chemistry.
And my name's Kylie Zimmerman. I'm also a research intern, and I work in coral husbandry, and I'm on the field team.
Today we are going to get down to some facts about corals. We work really closely with the corals.
Yep, you could say we're in their business a lot.
Oh.
We're here to bust some myths about corals. They're pretty misunderstood.
So when you say myths,
Well, what pops into your head when you think of a coral?
are they rocks?
Are they plants?
Are they even alive?
Many people think that corals are rocks.
Fair enough. They're hard, brittle, rough, and stuck to the bottom of the ocean.
If you take a closer look, you can see that the rough, hard body is actually just a support structure for the living tissue. And it's the skeleton that many people confuse for rock.
That's because corals are actually animals, not at all like rocks. And if you look even closer, you can see how a coral grows over time.
A coral grows millimeter by millimeter by depositing layers upon layers of skeleton on top of one another. The skeleton is made of calcium carbonate, which the corals make using ocean water. It gives them their support, much like a human skeleton would. Just like the layers of a tree, the coral's layers within their skeleton show how much a coral grows every year. Believe it or not, the oldest known coral is a deep-sea coral found off the coast of Hawaii that scientists estimate to be 4,270 years old.
They can get pretty big too. In fact, some of the largest coral colonies have grown up to several tons. That's as big as an elephant.
Check out this big chunk of great star coral, or Montastria cavernosa. It's called a colony because it's made up of a bunch of individual animals called polyps. Think of it like a hive of bees or ants that all work together as one.
All of the polyps are connected by a shared tissue, but each polyp is a separate entity with its own mouth at the center of its body. Each mouth is surrounded by tentacles, which the polyp uses like sticky little fingers to grab food from the water column to feed itself.
And here's a fun fact. Corals are related to sea anemones, which also have mouths and tentacles for feeding. And the word polyps actually means many feet, for all the tentacles the animals use to feed. Polyps come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. Here's another coral, Orbicella fabulata, that has much smaller polyps.
Both of these kinds of corals can be found along the Florida Reef Tract, but many colonies have been heavily impacted by a disease called stony coral tissue loss disease, which our lab is involved in researching. Now we know corals aren't rocks, but some people think they're plants. Unlike our first myth, this one isn't far from the truth. While corals are animals, they host millions of single-celled organisms that are algae called zooxanthellae.
This is called a symbiotic relationship, one where both the coral and the algae benefit from one another. The coral provide two important things for the zooxanthellae. The first thing being a safe place to live, right inside the coral's tissue. The coral tissue itself is transparent, so the sunlight can reach the algae on the inside, much like a window allows sunlight to reach plants on the other side. The algae undergo photosynthesis just like plants.
The corals also provide the algae with carbon dioxide, the same gas we exhale when we breathe, which the zooxanthellae then use as a key ingredient for photosynthesis. In return, the zooxanthellae give something back to the corals, sugar and oxygen, both byproducts of photosynthesis that the corals could then use to grow. It's also these algae that give the corals all their amazing colors.
But this symbiotic relationship is quite fragile and can easily be thrown out of whack if the corals become stressed. Coral bleaching is something you might have heard of. It's the natural response to the stress of exposure to abnormal ocean water temperatures. The zooxanthellae start to work in overdrive, and like bad roommates can actually cause harm to the insides of the coral's polyps. The corals reject the zooxanthellae and kick them out of their tissues. Once the colorful zooxanthellae are gone, you can easily see the bright white calcium carbonate skeleton through the transparent living tissue. The corals look like they're bleached, much like white towels coming out of the laundry.
However, the coral isn't dead yet.
The zooxanthellae can actually come back when the water temperatures cool off. You can do your part to protect these reefs no matter where you are. Turn off your lights, walk or ride a bike instead of drive, reduce your plastic use, or get involved with an ocean conservation organization.
Now, many people think that corals don't eat because they get all the sugars they need from the algae they host. But we are going to bust this myth today in real time. We are going to film a live feeding so you can see this for yourself. Like humans, corals need a balanced diet to stay healthy.
We alternate what we feed the corals every other day so that they can get a variety of nutrients that make them healthy, just like they would in nature. Maybe we'll see their tentacles moving food into the polyp's mouth.
We use a turkey baster to drop the food onto the colony. You can see the tentacles of the polyps quickly grab the food as it floats by and move the food towards the polyp's mouth. This coral has very large polyps, which allows us to easily see all of the polyps' mouths opening up, ready for their afternoon snack. This coral has all of its tentacles extended, waiting to come into contact with its food.
So there you have it. Now you know what a coral looks like up close and a little bit about how they function day to day. We hope that we cleared up some big myths and misconceptions out there about corals.
Well, thank you guys for showing us how the corals function day to day. It's so great to see how happy they are every day.
I'm so glad we were able to show you guys a little bit more about how corals look up close.
We hope we've cleared up some common myths and misconceptions out there.
And thank you guys to everyone watching our second video on corals. For our third video, we will be joined by another Champ Lab member, Liz, to discuss coral diseases and what they look like.
And in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to direct message us or click on the link below.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye!